Discussion keeps the world turning.
This is Roundtable.
You're listening to Roundtable. I'm Steve Hatherley today with Fei Fei and Yushan. Coming up, imagine paying for a movie and leaving 20 minutes in if you are not enjoying the film. A Hangzhou theater is now allowing exactly that, and it's sparking debate across China's film industry. The experiment raises tough questions about balancing audience satisfaction with artistic vision in a billion-dollar market. Our podcast listeners can find us at Roundtable China on Apple Podcasts. Don't forget that we love to hear from you too. So send your voice notes our way with any of the thoughts that you might have on any of the things that we discuss here on the show. Here's how you get in touch. Roundtablepodcast at QQ.com. Once again, roundtablepodcast at QQ.com. And now, going to the movies. We've all been there, right? We've been to a movie theater before, so we know you buy a ticket, you sit down, and within the first 20 minutes, you sometimes realize that this is not the film for you. Now, for years, that situation has been a sunk cost, because once the lights dim and the film starts, there's really no turning back. But lately in China, a small cinema in Hangzhou is making big headlines. It is changing that narrative, and it sparked a nationwide debate about consumer rights and artistic integrity and the future of the film industry. It's a big question here because I'm wondering, we'll get into the details in a sec, who wins in this type of situation? Do the moviegoers win? Do the cinemas somehow win? And what happens to the film industry overall? Is there an impact or is there not? But I find it to be so interesting because this is a pretty small theater and it's making headlines nationwide.
Yeah, actually starting from this month, March the 1st, a cinema in Hangzhou, the city of Hangzhou in Zhejiang province, they launched a 2-month, quote-unquote, viewing experience guarantee service that will run till the end of April. And under this policy, audiences can get a 40% refund on their actual ticket payment if they find the movie unsatisfactory within the first 20 minutes when it starts. So there will be no complicated explanations that are needed, just a valid same-day ticket, and then the refund will be processed on site. But the refunds won't be available after you leaving that theater.
And this is a cash return, right? This is, or return to your WeChat or whatever.
Yeah.
This is not vouchers for the theater.
No, just 40% of that price.
Why 40%? Is that an arbitrary number or is there a reason for that?
Well, actually, that's a common practice in throughout China's film industry here, because cinemas, they typically only keep around 40% of the box office revenue. So you might wonder, where is the other 60% go? Well, that flows all the way to film studios, distributors, and other parties who cover the production, the distribution, and also the operation of this movie. So really, this 40% is the best the cinemas can offer.
That's the maximum.
Back. Yeah. So, I don't know. I really like this idea that the refund is happening.
Well, this isn't the first time, right?
No.
They've tested this policy before. They did this in the last few years at cinemas in Changsha, and also in Henan. And they also launched post-screening refund services too. What are the details there?
So very similar to this Hangzhou cinema. For example, in Henan, there is a cinema in Xuchang City. They offered 50% refund also within 20 minutes of the start of the movie. And that service is still available now.
Oh, really? So that's they've been offering that for 2 years.
Yeah, but when it comes to Changsha, reportedly, a number of cinemas offered very similar refund services within the 30 minutes of a start of a movie back in 2024. But those services reportedly were suspended shortly after its launch because the controversy it caused.
Controversy?
Yeah. So that's the Hangzhou Cinema's policy also stirred a lot of debates about, is this a right policy? Will this policy harm or be a threat to the filmmaking industry?
So for decades, the industry has operated under a 2018, well, almost a decade, I guess, a 2018 regulation from the China Film Distribution and Exhibition Association. So what that allows, or what it only allows, is that ticket refunds or changes can happen before the film starts.
Usually that's the case.
That's the way it goes most of the time, right? And that's kind of the norm, I would think. And that means that, if the movie is not to your liking after it starts, well, then that's too bad for you.
I think this is something that should be promoted in other live show businesses too, such as live concerts or any kind of live events. I was looking on Retno these days, and there's one band from the U.S. touring around in China, and unlike how the tour went last year, how it really shocked everybody, this year I see people saying that, they're just not showing enough sincerity in their performance, and it's just like they're practicing singing, and that they give it and then they leave without any attachment, leave to the audience, like as if we can be whomsoever. They just come here and then they go. We don't feel that they like the fact that they're performing for us. So if that is the case, if you hear that in the first 20, 30-ish minutes, ever since the live performance, whichever type it might be, starts, and then I decide that this is not why I'm here for, this is not what I'm spending my next 2-3 hours here for, and then I get a refund and I go and I spend my evening somewhere else in a more enjoyable place, then why not? That's a good thing especially for young people that's looking for diverse kind of entertainment cultures nowadays.
Should this extend to other forms of art and entertainment? I want to come back to that question because I think it's a worthwhile debate. But for this particular situation, what are people saying about this? I guess since it's such a hot issue, there are the supporters and there are the critics.
Yeah, there are supporters that seeing that, of course, it gives them the customers a right to choose.
Right.
That if I don't like this movie, for instance, I can ask for refund, and that will be reflected in the box office, and that can lead to, for example, filmmakers rethinking about their strategy and maybe making their next movie better. But there are also critics saying that, for example, 20 minutes since the start of a movie is just too short. You're sitting down for a 2-hour storyline, and the first 20 minutes is sometimes not sufficient enough to tell.
How can you know?
Yeah, and also
if it's good or not.
Yeah, and also how do you when it comes to if you like this product or this product work for you or not, that's a very subjective criteria. Unless, for example, if I buy a mobile phone, for instance, it doesn't work. If it doesn't work, that means it doesn't work. That means it's a failed product. But when it comes to cinemas, for example, you can't say it's a bad movie because I don't like it.
It's subjective.
Yeah, so I see when it comes to the critics, I get why they are not really happy with this kind of policies that there is no standards when it comes to what makes a good movie or not.
What's going on here? Like, what's at the heart of this issue? It's a business policy, right? The theaters have said they made the decision. If you don't like it, we'll give you a little less than half your money back. Or in one example, we'll give you exactly half your money back if you leave within the first 20 minutes or a half an hour. Why is this so debatable then?
I think it comes down to the clash between consumer rights and industry reality. That is, the cinemas, they are trying to attract as many foot traffic and avoid as many empty seats as possible. So they are looking for ways to lower the barrier for moviegoers so that, we have this policy rolling out now. It's on trial, but hey, you're very welcome to come in, stop by. Even though you don't know what this movie is about, you're very welcome to sit down and have at least a 20 minutes tryout. So that's to attract more people to the theaters and increasing the ratio of them sitting down throughout the whole movie.
Reduced
as
risk,
a start.
Reduced financial risk, reduced time and energy,
and empty
risk.
seats, because a lot of the times the cinemas, they showcase the movie throughout the day, but only maybe sometimes, especially during work days, there are only 1-2 people buying tickets for
and
real.
Also, maybe it's also coming from competition faced by the cinema theaters themselves. Like, for example, if we check on our phone right now, we probably have 4 or 5 different theaters just within our neighborhood. And so it's our choice to, if I'm going to watch this movie, I can pick anyone that I want. And so I think I get why this Hangzhou theater is offering this kind of policies that if I can offer you a 40% discount, maybe you'll choose me instead of the other 3. And even though I lose the money on this movie box office, I can still make some money off the beverages or the popcorn that you purchase.
Very true concessions, that's right. And oftentimes theaters, that's where they will make their money, right? They might not make very much money on ticket sales alone, even if they are selling out the theaters. Whereas, popcorn and soda and candy or whatever they sell, that's where they can make up a lot of that cash. And if you go, okay, so let's play out this scenario. There's 5 theaters in our neighborhood. 4 don't offer any type of refund. So Fei Fei chooses the 40% within 20 minutes if you leave discount place. Okay, so she goes there and she gets a popcorn and some soda and she goes inside, and within 20 minutes, she decides she doesn't like the movie. She comes out, she gets 40% of her ticket back. But she's already spent the money on the soda, and you don't give your popcorn back.
No.
Right? So they've already cleared the money on that. Yeah, so I understand that strategy. It makes sense.
That's also another reason why I think this might be a good idea, because again, coming back to the content of these live shows and movies, if at the very beginning I already don't feel like this is going to attract me in the first place, why would I sit through? And then you said, well, maybe because there's a buildup. What if this is a slow movie that gets better as it moves by? My opinion, very personal opinion on that would be, if it doesn't really attract me at the beginning, at least 20 to 30-ish minutes, then I don't think the buildup in the end is going to really shock me to a point that I think it's worth it. Because I've had that experience before where I sit through a movie that lasts 2 hours or so, and yeah, they have big name directors, a chain of good leading actors and actresses in that production, and that's kind of the reason I was sitting there in the first place to try to watch it. But as it goes, at the very beginning, I realized this is not what I was thinking that it could be. But that was another scenario at another movie company where they do not have a refund, so I have to sit through.
So you would have left, and
I would have left. Indeed, yeah. I was thinking that this could have been a good opportunity for people to realize that yes, we have another option if we don't like it.
You agree with this, Fei Fei? You don't agree with this?
I don't really agree with this. Even though even today, even if that theater didn't offer me that 40 or 50% refund, I can still leave if I don't like the movie.
Well, it's true. It's just you don't get any of your money back.
Yeah, but I've already saw that movie, and that's also one of the sort of the quote unquote contract that I signed with that movie.
If I go to a restaurant and I consume food for 20 minutes and I say, actually, I would like to return this to you, please give me 40% of my money back. That's ridiculous.
Yes.
Can't do that in a restaurant. Why can you do it in a movie? You've consumed a certain portion of the film. I can see both sides of the debate. Let's talk about the movie industry. What could potentially, and this might seem like a little bit of a loose connection, but I'm not sure that it is. What could potentially happen to films and how they are made in the future as the result of a policy like this?
I think the movie industry is still on the watch, and they're also testing out the water through this trial happening in Hangzhou right now. So if it goes well, if the pilot boosts ticket sales and the reputation, and without excessively refund losses on people disliking the movies, then more cinemas may actually follow suit, and more cinema companies will enroll these companies as part of their daily practices. If it leads to, on the other hand, financial losses or market chaos and people complaining instead of, like me, liking the fact that they get refunds afterwards, then the policy do not have any value for remaining at all.
Is there going to be pressure on filmmakers to make movies that need to be super exciting or have a hook in the first 20 minutes because they might know, well, people could we could lose money if people are leaving the theater within the first half hour.
Yeah, I mean, at the current stage, it seems like only the theater will bury that financial losses if the customers. But I think what the critics are worrying about is if this because the policy has been popping up since 2024. So there are always some kind of cinemas thinking about implementing this policy.
Yeah, the theater bears the cost in the beginning, but if we think of it this way, right, that's an available option, okay? So I know if I go to this theater, I don't like the movie within 20 minutes, I know it's an option. So I'm going to go and get my money back. Now, for me, there's two issues here. Number one, was I really not happy with the film? Or was I influenced with the knowledge that I can get a refund? Was I going into the movie not wanting to like it or something? I'm wondering if there's any psychological influence there.
Really?
Number two, if I leave that theater and I go post online, I just watched movie XYZ and I was so unhappy with the film, I got my 40% discount, don't go watch this movie. There's where you have a problem with the studios and with the filmmakers themselves.
And also when it comes to, for example, niche film industries, like they always have a very slow-paced storyline. And if they are judged solely by the first 20 minutes of their story, I think it's unfair to them as well.
Should this extend to other forms of entertainment? You think it should, Yushan? You think this should extend to concerts, where if you're not happy with the concert within the first 20 minutes, you should be able to leave and get a certain percentage of your money back?
Yeah, because any sort of live performances, first of all, the tickets is not cheap in the first place. Second of all, people have high expectations, especially when it's live. They expect the performers to really get to interact with the audiences, and they were looking for a vibe. But what if eventually they don't turn out to be a vibe at all, and you just realize, I can actually just watch previous concerts at home instead of coming all the way to this city for this live performance and staying outside in the stadium for like 3 freaking hours. Then that's something that me personally I would try to avoid in the first place.
Fei Fei?
Well, I think you can always check online. I think that's what everybody does today, is that you check online, first of all, to see the reviews of the performances or movies, to get a peek of what you are expecting.
Yeah, but it's still, okay, I understand. But do you think you should be able to get a discount from a concert or a theater performance, opera, Peking Opera? Maybe I go to Peking Opera and I'm not happy in 20 minutes.
Well,
Can I get my money back? What do you think?
Also, that's debatable, because no matter what kind of live performances we get into, they have like build up of different storylines. They divided their performances into different segments, for example. Maybe I'm not happy with the first segment. What about the second? What about the third? What about the ending of that storyline?
And
you never know what you expect.
Honestly speaking, for traditional arts, it's something different, because if you know what Peking opera is like and you walk into a theater and get the performance, that's one thing. But if you have no idea what it is and you just bump into one and you bought the ticket and get in and realize, gosh, I don't like it. What if you walk out and said, I don't like it because Peking opera is awful? That would also not be a very balanced and righteous opinion that you get out of it.
It's kind of tricky, isn't it? Yeah. I've enjoyed most of the concerts I've gone to. The only one I didn't really love, Maroon 5?
Yeah.
My complaint was they only sing Maroon 5 songs.
Excuse me.
Have you ever listened to 10?
That's the reason why you shouldn't get a refund.
Exactly, I guess.
One Maroon 5 song is awesome. 15 Maroon 5 songs in a row is a little bit much, if you ask me.
You're not that faithful of a fan, we can tell.
That's it for today's Roundtable. Thanks for hanging out with us over the last hour. Enjoy your time. I'm Steve for Fei Fei and Yushan. Have a good one. See you next time.